we're going to go over number 1, which is call to order.
John just did that, so
Okay,
now
all right,
pledge
Mr. John
allegiance.
did that. Next one is the Pledge of Allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we're going to do roll call. Sue McFadden, she's absent today.
She did email
Yes, she
to
did.
be excused.
I'm here, Demita DeBose. Brendan MacArthur.
Present.
All right. Kate Smith.
Here,
John Jones.
Here.
Dennis
Kapelinski,
Kapalinsky.
Linsky.
He emailed as well.
All right.
So Dennis is absent but excused.
Correct.
All right. Jim McConnell.
Here.
Robert Smith.
Here.
Dennis Allison.
Here.
All right. Okay, now we're at approval of the minutes. I make a motion to approve the agenda of the minutes.
I'll second it.
Now take a vote.
Take a vote.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, it's approved.
She can't make the motion.
Oh,
You can't make the motion. You're the chair.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second
okay,
it.
okay.
It's okay. It's okay. We're all.
Oh, I'm fine.
Revote. Revote.
Okay.
Okay, now take the vote again.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Presentation?
No, you gotta approve the minutes.
Oh, approval of the minutes.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Now take a vote.
Vote? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? It's approved. For the approval of the minutes, you will have to make the motion. They said I couldn't make a motion.
Well,
You made a motion to approve.
No, she,
no, the minutes are okay. I was just asking the commission if it would be possible to amend the agenda on number 9. So, on number 9, where it says public comments, general on non-agenda items, I do have a community forum presentation, and we do have some residents here, and I would like them to be able to speak in reference to the 5-year master plan. So if that would be okay with you, I would just like to change number 9 to agenda, anything, that they can come up and speak, if that's okay.
Okay. Where is this public comment, general non-agenda item limited to 3 minutes? Where is that at? What book or what, where is that at that we have to follow that?
That's this format is what the city uses. It's a general template.
I'm sorry, what I'm getting at is could we put an addendum in there that says that when we're talking about the master plan, that the residents have X time? So then it's not.
Yeah, we can,
If you put that, somebody should put that in the notes that they should look into adding under the public comment, general and non-agenda items. What do you guys think? I'm thinking for that, we should put something in there special for if we have the 5-year plan where somebody can come up and we give them X number of time.
And that's just for, in regards to the 5-year plan.
Just a 5-year plan only, so
For
then that
tonight.
way it's in there. So if it's not a 5-year
I just
plan, you
want
don't
to-
get 15 minutes.
that's all.
Or you're gonna give them an X, you're gonna give them,
3 minutes.
huh?
If they would like to, I mean, like we did the community forum, I kind of want to do it.
On something on the 5-year plan, I don't wanna give people 3 minutes.
Okay, that's up to the commission. That's fine.
Well, it would only be this meeting and the next before it's finalized.
Right. But going forward, when we have meetings, it'll be in there because I'll guarantee you, some of us probably aren't gonna be here. And that's pretty close to my heart, and I don't think trying to give a person who doesn't know how to get up and give a presentation, if they're coming up and tell them you got 3 minutes. I do a lot of presentations, so I know 3 minutes
For
is-
this meeting,
you
can we
gotta
just
jam
strike it off and then,
Or
It's up to the
revisit it.
commission, however you want to do it. I would just like the public, because we do have the public here to be able to speak.
No, they could speak.
Okay?
so we change this and then vote on it?
You have agenda items only as the public comment right under presentations.
Sure.
So you can, whoever made the motion and seconded for the approval of the agenda, if somebody would, or whoever made that motion, will allow that change to be made, remake their motion with the changes presented, and strike that 3 minutes to say 5 minutes, then you
No,
can
I
do
want
it
to
there.
add another line that says for, when we're doing the city plan,
Mhm.
the master plan, I'm sorry, when we do the master plan, give them more time.
So, because the Open Meetings Act, you can't really change that much of it to affect it. If you just strike the 3 minutes for agenda items only to 5 minutes, that's an easy enough change where you're not violating the Open Meetings Act.
We're not going to do that because then the city council is going to have to give their people 5 minutes too, right?
No,
Oh, okay.
you guys can make it just for this meeting for your guys' agenda items only tonight, up it to 5 minutes.
Okay.
But whoever made the motion to approve the agenda and whoever did the second have to agree to those changes and remake the motion. So you step back to that, make the motion and pass it, and then go back down to what you would be at presentations now.
Did you make the motion for the,
Yeah, I can't make motions. so
Yes,
it
I
wasn't-
made the motion.
for the agenda?
Yes.
Okay, so do you want to voice this change here?
Yes.
And then,
Amend your motion
I would like to amend my motion
to update
to
the,
update the
public-
public comment, general, non-agenda
no, no, no,
items
no, no,
limited
no,
to,
no, no,
no?
agenda items one,
Agenda items.
Number 7.
number 7,
Oh, I gotta make, okay, 7, all right, I got it.
because it's on the agenda already.
All right,
Yeah. And then just whoever seconded it, re-seconded it with the changes.
was it,
Was it me?
I think it was, yeah. It was Jen. Jen?
I'll second.
No, you resend.
I will
She resends.
okay, so now a vote?
Okay, so
I just
now
have
we
a
have to,
question
now
about
we
the
have to make a
agenda.
mo,
Okay.
or do we have to wait till we come back to that one, or can we do it now to make that 5 minutes?
You amended your motion
right.
to change it to.
Now do we revote?
There you go.
Just, yeah.
And now we have to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Okay, so can we jump back to presentation now?
I have a question about the agenda.
Okay.
So while you're talking about the agenda, I was wondering if I could ask it. So you've got, number 7 is public comment for agenda items only. So when you get down to items for consideration and you're discussing them, will you still call for public discussion?
No.
Oh,
I mean, you can
so
get-
what you're saying is you would have liked to see number 7 as like maybe number 8 and number 8 be number 7?
Yes, because unless people are mind readers, we're not going to know what this commission discusses about the agenda items. So how can we get up prior to that and discuss what we want to discuss?
We used to just have one public comment at the end. Could we go back to that?
Right, like it used to be.
Whether it's on the agenda or not, or actually, if you're voting on each thing under items for consideration, you ask for discussion from the public, discussion from the board. So after you guys have discussed it, then you ask for discussion from public. I'm just saying,
For
because
every,
No, but
for
I think
A,
what
B,
she's saying is that we used to have public comment as like.
Right, you know, I know what-
Like
yeah.
number 10, then number 11 would have been commissioner comments, and then adjournment.
Right,
I'd have to look at an old one to see, but I don't know.
my point is, if you're going to vote on something, you should listen to public discussion prior to you voting on
Right.
each item.
I
And that,
agree.
I believe, is how it used to be.
Yeah.
So I'm,
I agree. That makes sense.
okay, I wouldn't mind going back to the one public comment at the end. I don't know how you guys feel. I don't know how it's supposed to be done on here. If you're supposed to have two separate public comments, or if it's okay to have one, maybe you could look into that.
I can look into it.
Okay. So, presentation?
Yeah, we're at presentation.
I know.
Well, we have number 6 that we need a presentation. There's a young man who spent a lot of time and a lot of effort, and I'd really like to see this presentation. Is that where we're at? Are we at?
We are
we're
at
five.
the presentation, yes.
Hello, Commissioners. My name is Corey Kramer. I grew up right down the street from Garden City Park, and I would like to see if we can get a disc golf course in the park. I've worked for at least a year with Mike Downey at the Ice Arena, trying to figure out a layout for a 9-hole disc golf course. Disc golf is one of the sports that is rapidly growing right now, especially because of COVID and everything like that. We were told you have to go outside, you have to like spread out, and that's exactly what disc golf is. You're just throwing frisbees around at an obstacle. So I believe you guys have them already, but you have on the second page there's a map of where the course would be. So I took at least 2 years of
Residents, I'm sorry.
There's some extra ones here.
Oh, okay. I took at least 2 years of consideration into where the layout of this course will be. It is not in any areas that would affect where things are taking place now, and it does not affect safety at all. So if you look, hole 1 would be behind where it's a building, I believe it used to be like the batting cages or something like that. It would start there, it would go north into the woods. There's nothing in those woods right now. You would have 2 holes going back and forth. The third one being on the inside of that hill. It's kind of like a dirt trail for bikes and stuff like that. I've purposely thrown discs the wrong direction to see if I can make it to that path. And where it is, there is no way, unless they're throwing on purpose at people. You'd be playing in a very safe area on the inside of that little ridge. After that, you would walk behind the shed and you would play towards kind of like, there's a cluster of trees right by the volleyball nets. That area is not used at all. Hole 5 is going from the corner of the field that is sometimes used for events, and I believe it's like 1 or 2 events every year. In that case, you would just close that one hole down for like special event or something like that. Disc golfers will understand if they can't play because there's kids doing something special there that day. After that, you would go behind the parking lot that used to be for the pool. You would play towards the big pavilion. That is not close enough to, there is a smaller north pavilion, I believe. It is nowhere near that, so we don't have to worry about that. After that, hole 7, you would walk towards the playground, but because there's kids playing there all day, every day, you're gonna be throwing away from them. There's like a little dirt hill area with a bunch of trees. That is the smallest hole because just in case there are a lot of people there, it's fine that it's the shortest hole because then you would have less risk of throwing a bad shot, ricocheting, hitting anything. That goes towards the restrooms. Then you're gonna walk behind the restrooms. In between the restrooms and the skate park, you're going south into the woods towards the ice arena. There's nothing to block your sight for looking out for people. I mean, it is golf, but it's with frisbees, so it's a lot easier to control where you're throwing. And then hole 9 is going in the woods behind the ice arena back towards the main parking lot. The main parking lot is kind of like where you would park, and then also you would go, you can walk from 9 back to hole 1 and kind of start over if you want to play 18 holes or something like that. It would be a 9-hole course with 16 tee pads. That would give 7 out of the 9 an option of a long tee and a short tee. That also gives skill levels an option. So if it's a kid or a new person, they have the chance to learn from a shorter distance, and then once they get good enough, they can try the longs and stuff like that. As of right now, every company that I've looked into, 9 baskets or 10, depending on if you want to have a practice basket like right by the parking lot, is around $3,000. And then the rest of the money that you would need is solely for concrete. So it would be cementing the baskets into the ground, cementing the T-pad signs, which we can create ourselves. I mean, we have beautiful signs in the park already. And then also cementing, usually it's a 4x8 slab that you throw off of so that you have good footing and you're not stepping in kind of like mud or anything like that. Those are the only things that you need to purchase to create this course. So 3,000 plus, I don't know how much concrete is, so we have DPS, we can kind of bid it to whoever wants to do it. A few things that I want to mention about this is there's an app called UDisc that shows every course basically in the world. As long as someone has added it to this, you can see it on a map. The closest courses from here, there's one at Sheldon and Palmer in Canton. It's a little 9-hole course at Freedom Park. And then the Northville end of Hines Park has Cass Benton. That's a big 18-hole course. Outside of that, there is a giant gaping hole on the map where Dearborn doesn't have one. Dearborn Heights doesn't have one. Redford has like a terrible one. There's nothing in Livonia. So like having this would actually bring a lot of people into Garden City, where you can do leagues, you can do tournaments. I've even volunteered to do like a summer camp. So if you look on the other side, there is a custom disc that I created that we could use. A lot of companies, including 2 companies that are from Michigan, one in Wixom and one in Marlette, which is in the Thumb, are 2 major manufacturers of disc golf items. With batches, you can do a custom stamp like that, so we can make it really nice. The example that I would have would be a summer camp would be somewhere where me and a few other volunteers can teach anyone that wants to sign up how to play, and then now we have a course that they could play it on. As an estimate, I would say it would be like $50 a person. You'd be able to have like a Saturday or a Sunday set for this. 25 of that would go towards giving them 3 discs. The reason you want 3 is because they, just like golf clubs, they have different uses. They do different things. This one's a lot sharper. It's a driver. This one is a putter. It kind of glides a little more. They would get 3 with that stamp, and then at the end, they get to keep those. So if they like this, if they want to try more, they have the resources and the utilities to actually play. That I've already talked.
And how long is a camp?
It would be either like a one-day event, like a Saturday, or a Saturday-Sunday. It would be going through all of the different forms and throws that you do, because there are different ways of throwing. It would be kind of practicing, teaching them the fundamentals, and then maybe if it is a Sunday, then Sunday would be like doing some kind of, maybe like, not a tournament, but like playing the course with everyone from the summer camp kind of thing. I believe that's all I have to say.
So the 3 disc set is $25.
Yes. Yes.
Anybody got any questions?
I have some questions.
Yep.
What's the maintenance on
Maintenance is cutting
the
the grass.
concrete?
Nothing.
Nothing,
No.
so it basically lasts for a long time?
Yeah, I mean, wear and tear on that, we wouldn't be destroying it, the weather would be destroying it, but it is just a concrete slab that is kind of level with the ground.
It's all gonna depend on what concrete we use.
Yeah, it's,
Right.
the concrete
you know.
differs, but usually we would brush it like a crossway. That way you have a little more grip for your feet, because some of these holes are like 450 feet. You really kind of get into it with your body. You don't want like a slippery surface. So we just usually like brush across just to give it a little bit of texture. Outside of that, it would be grass cutting. There are no trees being destroyed in this process because those are actually the obstacles that you would throw around. So the fairways aren't like a regular golf course where it's just open fairway and everything's on the sides. This, you're finding gaps in the trees to kind of aim through to get to the basket.
Okay, and then on number 5 and number 9, is number 5 going across the pathway or no? Because I see it's the circle, yeah.
That's the service drive. So that DPS,
Oh, that's the service drive.
yeah, DPS is the only stuff. And I believe in the most recent map that I created, it's actually right before the service drive, but there's a service drive there and there's a service drive with 8 and 9. And that is something that's blocked off to the public. So there is no
No
like
cars
regular
or-
vehicles.
okay.
No.
Do you have your tablet?
Yeah.
Could you start it and let each commissioner see a whole? Please.
Yeah.
And if the public would like to see a whole, I'd like to invite you guys to look at it if you want to see it.
Yes.
You said it was possible to close it down if there was an event. How would you do that?
You would just block off like the actual T-pad. So like for instance, do you have the map?
Yeah.
Okay. So for instance, this one, there are a lot of times where that field is being used for something. There's 2 T-pads, so you'd be able to block off the long one and say close for the event.
You can just put up a sign, see?
Yes, yeah. And that's
Golf
actually
course
why
closed today.
there are reasons that I blocked off specific areas on that map. That big area near the logo is the event area. That is used all the time for things throughout the summer and everything. So that's kind of not where I would like to do anything.
But I think with the disc golf, you could put a sign up. If there's an event
Yeah,
going on where
yep.
they can't, I think it's as simple as putting up a sign saying.
You would put up a sign.
Disc golf closed today.
Yeah, yep. For special event,
Right.
city event, whatever you want to say. The T-pad signs themselves would look something like this. It just shows the distance of the hole, the par. If you're familiar with golf, it's just how many throws it takes to get into the basket. Very simple. We can also add an area on here for any businesses that want to advertise and kind of like sponsor a hole, whether that's donating something or like donating money or anything like that.
Can I take this one for just a second?
Yep.
One of the things we talked about is if you had a whole sponsor for disc golf, right? I don't know how the city would keep track of it, but what you do is keep track of if somebody's on hole 1 and they've given you $200 and now you need to fix the pad, fix the disc, fix whatever. You've got the money. I'm assuming they could set that up as a special account for Parks and Rec, and that money would be held there if something needed to happen. Because I think down the road, that's probably what's going to happen. Is like with disc golf, you're going to get people that are going to want to sponsor those holes.
Yep.
And then if they don't give you the money, then you lose them as a sponsor, but you go find somebody.
Yeah.
And how much does it cost to replace the nets that mount to the tree?
I don't know what you're talking about.
No,
The net.
no.
The basket?
Yeah, the
The
basket.
basket's not connected to a tree.
Well, okay, so what's just the basket, and can the basket be replaced, or if it gets
Yes.
damaged,
So
is it basket and pole need to get replaced, or one or the other?
no, so there is a sleeve that the basket slides into, and it has a lock at the bottom. That is what's getting cemented into the ground. So if in an event that you do need to remove a basket, someone would just unlock it, pull the basket from there, and then there would be maybe like a 4-inch sleeve coming out of the ground, just basically a pole holder. That's another way you could replace things, or you can kind of change a lot of tournaments. I just did a tournament on Saturday in Troy. There were a lot of very local Troy companies that wanted to donate. They donated like tons of money. And then also for events like a league or a tournament, you could actually pull the basket and place it in a different location, whether it's just on a platform or if you do have multiple sleeves, giving a different layout to kind of like a pin placement in golf.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so that's, they're very replaceable.
I'm just thinking about the cost, because if you go ask somebody, I mean, all this stuff can be worked out, because if you're gonna go after somebody to sponsor it,
Yeah,
you're gonna
so,
need to say that, you know, like, just like we do with the parks, when somebody adopts it, they're supposed to put X number of dollars in, this would be put X number of dollars in.
yeah, so everywhere that I've looked up, most manufacturers have baskets that they sell, and they usually bundle it where it's, I believe, $400 or $450 for a single basket, and then if you get 9, it drops the price down to like $300, which is where the 3,000 comes in. If you get 18, it drops it down to like $250 each. So there, yeah, you can get baskets at any time, whether it's purchase all of them at once and have like extras or what. Another thing is this course, if it does get popular enough, you can always add a back nine. I mean, there's a lot of area of the park that I didn't even look at yet because I knew that I was aiming just for this one specific area. But if another 9 holes in a few years is like an option, that might be something where we would buy 18 baskets now if we know the potential's there, and then we can add new holes later on that go around more of the park.
Well, don't forget, if you've already got your sponsors on the front 9,
Yes,
they might want to be a sponsor on the back 9.
exactly. Yep.
Or they may want to sponsor more than one hole,
Yes.
depending on price. Did you get that where, I was more interested in them seeing actually where when you showed me the one, it was where the disc was going toward the baskets?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
So-
if you could show them that and anybody else who's interested in it, I think it'd be great. Question I have next is, how do we get this to go forward?
You would have to go out for bid. To get pricing, we'd have to have engineering, survey, those types of things done, because it is a project in the park. It would start at the commission level, those types of things, and then go out for bid.
Zach, how much interest you got in this?
I mean, I know I have friends that are interested in disc golf. One of my buddies is actually plays with a couple of his friends and actually Corey, they've played with Corey before. I mean, I love the idea because it doesn't take up a lot of space and he's already got the plans ready to go, so stuff that could be sent over to Hennessy to engineer that wouldn't be much of an issue. And even then, at what we're looking at cost-wise, and I think a lot of the stuff being able to be done by DPW, it wouldn't even need to come to council for a vote because it wouldn't be over $10,000. So it might be a quicker process.
So what's our next step?
So maybe from the table, does anyone have any,
Anybody got any questions?
any questions or anyone opposed to this?
I think it's a great idea.
I mean, personally, I feel like there's not a big drawback of like negative aspects. I mean, he's went over the safety issues, the cost is under the amount that we would have to go to council with. Bringing in people, it seems like a very easy way to do something soon.
This is a quick fix.
Right, to bring people in to have something like this that is not in other parks, having it here in Garden City might be a really good idea. So I really thank you for your presentation, it was really good.
Thank you.
Do many people get out for the winter? And Kim, I'll get to, yeah.
Yes.
They still play in the winter?
Yes.
Okay, so it's still something that could be feasible.
I've played in 2 feet of snow. So yes, people will.
Frostbite opens? I mean,
Actually,
they had it in baseball. I've
there's
played
some
it
there's some really funny tournament and league names for,
I'm sure there
freezing something off and yeah.
Kim, did you?
Well, I think it's cool. My question is, I heard you say if there was a special event at the park or something, you could shut the course down.
Well, it would be dependent on where the event is. It might just be one hole, so people would still be able to play and then just kind of
So I guess my question is,
Yeah.
on any normal day,
yes,
this course would be open.
yes.
My problem with this is people walk all through this park.
He's already told you he's tried to hit people and he can't. He said he's tried to hit people from the way he's gone, the way it's laid out, and he hasn't been able to hit them.
If you got
You make me sound like a serial killer or something. I'm not.
Here, if they're walking through that. I'm just concerned because people walk all over this park.
Yes,
They don't just
yeah.
walk on a walking path.
Yeah.
Or, you're a very responsible player.
Yeah.
I'm concerned about, because you're throwing that thing 450 feet,
Yeah.
that's got some power behind it, doesn't it?
Yes.
That's my concern, that's why
Yeah,
I'm asking,
so-
there's no way to close this course off.
No, not necessarily. I mean, yes, you could block on every tee pad, put a sign that says like closed for the day or something like that.
The whole length of the throw, isn't it?
Well, and he also
Yeah, you could pull the baskets in case of, so the basket is,
That's still not what I'm saying. I'm saying on any given day over at that park, there's people walking all through that park. Not just on the walkway or not, and they're not, the kids and stuff, they're not gonna go, oh gee, there's a disc golf here and there's a basket here and a basket there. I better not walk that way.
And he stated actually at the community forum at Radcliffe that it's a pretty high visibility from the pad, so you can see if somebody's walking, if they're walking in the fairway.
But kids aren't gonna see that.
But
Kids
for
aren't
him
gonna
playing,
What,
he's gonna be the one paying attention to not get somebody
That's what I
walking.
said. He's responsible.
well, question for
The
you.
disc golf, like,
What's the difference between that and someone coming up and hitting a baseball just into the field?
Why, when they play baseball over there, they have to be on the field that has fencing around it.
But you said there's people that use the park all the time. What's the difference between someone?
Let's put it this way, I think if two people are playing frisbee, you got just as much chance to do it as you do playing disc golf.
I'm just,
I'm just putting it out there. It's a concern of mine.
Sure, no, I appreciate it.
There's people all over that park, there's children all through that park. They're not gonna know that you're gonna be throwing at frisbee. Little kids are not gonna know that.
True.
Is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So if there's a way to make it safer somehow, I don't really know how. I've never played stage.
Limit the liability.
I think it's a great idea to bring it to Garden City. You're right. There's one way down in Northville, you know, and I see people every time I go through Hines, there's people that are playing. I'm just, that's what he's doing, about safety.
okay.
I'm sure when McKenna gets done engineering this, we'll know exactly what's going on. So I think we put what you have to McKenna, and then if they can see a way to alter it or change it.
Okay. Yeah.
Don't, Kim, what do you think? I
Yeah,
think
engineering
because-
survey on these types of projects.
Because there's gonna have to be an
Safety is a concern
engineering
in any
survey.
park.
Anyhow, anywhere it goes.
So it's not gonna, I mean, we can sit here all
Correct.
night and talk about this, but
Yeah.
until somebody comes and says, hey, it's a great idea, he can't go this way, but
Yeah.
he can go this way.
So Commission, is it fair to say you would like me to move forward with some engineering drawings, surveys, those types of things?
Yes.
And get a real layout? That means I can contact you?
Yes.
Next meeting, I'll give you a full report of where we're at. How's that?
We
Good?
have a question.
How modified, let's say 5 years down the road, that Parks and Rec decides to do another project. It's just pulling that up and repositioning it if it's in the way of another project?
Yes.
Okay, that's, I just want.
Well, the poles are permanent. The poles are permanent, but the baskets are removable.
Right, but if, let's.
You can relocate the course. Yes.
Or one hole.
Correct. Yes.
Relocate a couple holes if you got the room to do
Yeah,
it.
the sleeves that go into the ground and get cemented are they're cheap.
Yeah,
So
I just
you would just
wondered-
add it
Correct.
on, and then that's where the basket would go from now on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there covers that go over those sleeves if the basket isn't there?
Yes.
Because you
Yeah.
said that they stick 4 inches out of the ground.
Yeah. We're not the only ones that are worried about safety. These companies want people to be able to like enjoy the park. Yeah. And I will say one last comment. I have a portable basket for my backyard, and I've brought it to the park multiple times just to see different layouts and everything like that. And not only was no one in the area that I was throwing, but people were actually coming up and asking me what it was. And I was explaining, like, I'm trying to get a course in here, and the public seems to love it. So.
Did you actually let some people throw the disc?
No, these ones are special. These ones are mine. So. Would you let a stranger swing your golf
You
clubs?
should have had extra discs.
Would your stranger?
You should have had extra discs.
Exactly. So.
Can we see your disc?
Yeah.
You can't throw it, but you can throw
Oh, come on, throw it one time.
So this is a putter.
Okay.
It's basically like a regular frisbee. It glides a little more. It's floaty in the air. This is a driver. It's got a sharper rim, which lets it cut through the air. And you have to throw it a little harder.
Right, there's a little lip on it.
I think to go on what Kim was saying, my thought too is, I feel like every disc golf area that I've seen, there's kids and adults walking around anyways. So I think that regardless where you put this, out in the open, you could have people, you could have deer walking out.
Oh, thank
I feel like it's always going to be a thing of a kid or an adult, so you're, no place that you can have, unless it's fenced in, you're
Right.
always gonna have that
Yeah.
as a, issue. But then again, we would never have disc golf.
Yeah.
So unless it was in a dome or, in fenced off area. But I understand what Kim's saying, but is that a reason to not build it, So I have kids, I know, I wouldn't want my kid to get hurt, but also this is such a huge benefit, I think. So, just my 2 cents.
You had a question?
Question I have is where are you gonna collect the receipts? From what I'm seeing where T1 is from where the ice rink is, that's quite a distance. So are you thinking of setting up someplace to where you can make the exchanges? And then the other question I have, how many rangers do you need to police that to maintain order?
Do you mean receipts as in payment?
Yes.
This would be it would be a
Free.
free course.
John, it's a free course. Yep.
Yeah,
It's
Free.
Disc golf is free.
Yeah, so the only thing that people
Everywhere you
would
go,
have
it's
to,
free.
the only thing that people would have to purchase would be their own frisbees.
That's why a lot of people.
These are roughly between $10 to $12. A course like this with high visibility, you wouldn't lose them. There are courses that have ponds and heavy woods and stuff where you do lose a disc here and there, but I would say you can buy this for maybe $14. The course is free. You have a whole summer of fun. And then for rangers,
There was really no.
there's
need
no
for it.
rangers. Yeah.
So should we have a deposit for those discs to make sure they get brought back?
No,
They're buying their own. No, this would be they would purchase themselves.
It'd be like going bowling, and you take your bowling balls and your shoes with you. When you go to
Yeah.
disc golf, you take your disc golfs with you.
Yeah, there would be no
You take your
rental.
putter, your driver.
There would be no rental, but for the summer camp, they would be purchasing the 3 discs from the city. They would keep those, and then the rest of the money would be a donation to
maintenance. Or
better the park.
And from what John first said, it sounds like we're gonna be below that $10,000 number, right? So why do we even have to deal with council or
We don't.
anybody
We
else?
don't. We don't. We just need to know what the process is because, John, in 20 years, nobody has ever brought something like this to this commission. This is a personal one. I want to see this go through. This is the first time anybody, I'll say it again, has ever brought something to this
I'm
commission.
ecstatic. When I heard about that the other day, I thought it was a great idea. It's just, there are questions, and as always, we have the initial contact, and then we all think about it, and that's a couple of questions I have. Now, these poles that go into the concrete, are they gonna be the type of where nobody can really destroy them?
No,
Because we do have a problem with vandalism in our parks.
Yeah, so I've been playing disc golf for roughly 15 years. I think we've heard of one case, which was in Canton, which is surprising because you think Canton is such a nice city. One basket got stolen. The community was up in arms so much that the person returned the basket the next week because we care so much about our courses and stuff like that. So unless they cut the lock or the pole and steal the basket, there's not really any vandalism on the basket itself. The sleeve is cemented into the ground like any other normal structure that's cemented in, and then the pole is removable with a lock at the bottom. The pole is steel. It's a steel pipe. It's got chains on it, and that's about it.
And there is no way we can market it in a way to where people wouldn't go wandering in without, understanding of that. Because it's right about people walking all
Yeah.
over the park.
So-
That is an issue.
So one other thing is I can throw 450 feet, but anyone that is new to it or maybe like intermediate level is not throwing that far. But because they're not throwing straight, they're not throwing that far. So like once you get to the point of you're throwing really far, you're also throwing accurate because it takes quite a bit of skill to like get the disc launched that hard. So yes, I've seen people hit. A lot of the time it's in courses where there are blind spots. Like for instance, Freedom Park in Canton. There are a couple holes where you're throwing and right behind the basket is the walking path and there's bushes everywhere. So you don't know if there's someone coming. every single hole that I've created on this course, it is open. The only thing that you can see in between you and the basket are maybe some of those like fat maple trees. That, I mean, unless someone's standing behind it and jumping out, there wouldn't be any way of you not seeing someone before you throw. And it's just a common courtesy. It's like in golf, you don't really want to hit the people in front of you playing, so you wouldn't want to hit people in the middle. Yeah. Yes, and I can vouch for most players that frisbees are not something that can kind of do a lot of damage, and we want to keep it that way, so we're not going to be like throwing into a crowd or anything like that. So, yeah.
I get that. I'm talking about accidents.
Yes, yeah. Well, accidents. I mean, I was also a huge part of getting the skate park in, and I've seen a lot of blood at that skate park, and that's just, I mean, whether it's by choice because they're skateboarding or someone just walking on the ramps and falling. It's, I mean, accidents are always going to happen. Yes, yeah, true. Any other questions? No?
Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to move my presentation up now so people can make the comments.
You got it.
Okay.
So you've got this where we're gonna push this forward?
Yeah, I have
Alright.
all of Corey's information, and I will do my due diligence and report back to all the commission. Okay? I have a presentation as well tonight. I just wanted to comment, we did have a community forum on October 17th. Again, I'm really focused on the master plan. We had very low attendance. I know, Kate, you were there. Zach was there, and, you know, everyone's asking why was there low attendance. You know, that's the hardest question, you know, to answer. But I did have a short presentation I wanted to present tonight with some different ideas that are a little bit different from what we talked about on the first community forum. So I did have a quick slideshow. I hope they can get that up and running. Okay. So just, and you can go to the next screen. Again, we're focusing on the master plan. Just a little history, the master plan will be coming to council either late December or early January for approval. Our 30-day review period, meaning community can review the draft master plan. It is located on the website. I have copies in my office. Commission, you all receive copies. My staff in Parks and Rec have received the draft copy as well. Basically, during the 30-day review period is where we are making changes to that draft. Changes meaning, what do we want to see? That's why we had the community forum. Again, low attendance. So my goal tonight was, again, being on camera with a full commission, is to do a very quick presentation on some new ideas to spark some more interest to our community on how we want to put this final draft together for the master plan. So obviously it starts with the Recreation Commission. We're all here right now. Next slide, please. There is a 9-step citizen engagement process. Again, I'm just going to go through this. How do we get the community involved in the master plan? We advertised for the community forum in the Rec magazine. We've announced it through our recreation commissions. Councilman Witt announced it several times at the council meetings as well. We also use social media posts. We use the city website. We also have what's called social media repost, meaning if we post it, we'll post it again. And then you'll see the shares on social media, mainly on Facebook. That's kind of the #1 kind of thing I'm seeing with the community as well, the engagement on there. And we have on our website, on our Facebook, we have over 3,000 followers. So an example, if I post a flyer there and I see 7 shares, you can imagine where that is going. So, you know, we're trying to get the word out as best we can. We also have posters, as you can see in front. We have flyers that are posted not only here but in City Hall. I also did an email to the schools. It's basically looks like this. This is a monthly calendar through Parks and Rec. Right here it says 5-year master plan. Okay, that went to the school district, and that did hit all the people on email. The good news is we did have over 300 people engaged in the community survey back in September. So that data has been recorded and is currently in the draft plan. And then obviously community forums. So once again, we do everything that we can. I know myself, the commission, council, we try to get the word out to as many residents as humanly possible. Getting the voice, getting people involved, that's the hardest part when you're putting together a master plan. Next slide, please. Just to name all of our parks, again, building the master plan, we want to focus on what does the community want to see in our parks and our facilities. Most of us in the room, I know, are all residents. We know our parks. I have them lined up here. Obviously, the Civic Arena is a big attraction to the community, and the new Radcliffe Center. As you can see on the next slide, that is the location of our parks. You can see the stars and where our parks are located. I personally feel the location of our parks are in great locations spread out throughout the city. The blue smiley face is the arena and the Radcliffe Center. Next slide, please. Some other ideas that we haven't really thought of, I think just being here for a short time and talking to residents, what can we add to our parks? That's kind of the number one thing I hear as your new Parks and Rec director. But some other things that I would like to bring up this evening is some different ideas that I think we probably never even think of when we're renovating parks. Technology possibilities, use of solar power, lighting up our pavilions and restrooms. So things to think about for the future. Next slide, please. Emergency security poles in our parks. You'll see these mainly on college campuses, but this is now a new trend that are going into a lot of park systems. Next slide. Imagine Wi-Fi in every park. Kind of a cool idea.
Yeah, very.
People can actually bring their laptops. We want to make our parks as user-friendly as possible with technology. Next slide, please. Laptop and phone charging stations. That's a new trend that is coming very quickly to a lot of parks down south. I've seen a few in Ohio where I've worked. Again, I'm just doing some brainstorming to get the community going. Next slide, please. How about a scooter charging station? Imagine at City Park, I've seen a lot of scooters that go around our path. The scooter has really nowhere to charge. So our seniors and our handicapped and disabled would like to use that park and use that beautiful path, but again, where can they go to charge? So just some different technology ideas. Next slide, please. Security cameras, this is a big one. I know I am currently working on some things right now with the city manager and our park manager as well, installing security cameras based on solar energy inside the parks. Next slide, please. Identification cards. This is another idea, technology possibilities. This is actually going into play at the Radcliffe Center. We will be having identification/membership cards to enter into the Radcliffe Center. Again, that is a definite implementation that is going to be happening. Next slide, please. Registration kiosks. Again, Radcliffe and the Civic Arena, I absolutely see this being a technology add-on to these two places. Easy registration for programs. It reduces lines at the front desk. We all see sometimes when you go somewhere, other rec centers, you see that big line for people trying to get in, people trying to register. Just some technology I wanted to talk about. Next slide. The old playground design. That's what we see in our parks today. Next slide. And obviously, the new playground design. As you can see, the design of these playgrounds have changed drastically since the 1970s, even 1980s. So thankfully, City Park, City Council approved that, the new playground. And they also approved the new playground piece last night for the new piece for handicap accessible families and children.
I really like that change. I thought that was great.
Thank you. Next slide, please. Moeller Ball Fields, again, on the feedback that I got from the community forum, this was, people did write on the note cards, this was a big concern. And I think as a commission, we really need to look at this park. When do we do it? How do we do it? Where do we find the money? Those are always the questions when you're trying to do park planning and capital planning. But just some ideas you can kind of see. People right now, and if you can go to the next slide, please. You can see where the red lines are. That is where people are physically walking through the outfields, okay? Next slide, please. So the goal is to make our parks as safe as possible. So this is just a conceptual idea. Having actual walkways that are safe design through the park so people aren't just kind of waltzing through the outfield. Again, just showing some simple designs to spark interest, to spark thinking. Next slide, please. As you can see the pictures, there's the top pictures is the current backstops at Moeller Field from 1978. The bottom picture is the new stuff, okay? So just things to think of. Again, I hope the community is watching and we need more input. Next slide, please. Swings at bus stops, actual swings like this in parks. I know we've had a lot of residents actually in the community forum and the cards, we need more benches in our parks, but wouldn't that be cool to have a swing bench in the park? Just some fun ideas. Next slide, please. Another big one is pickleball courts. Did everyone know that we do not have public tennis courts available? We do not. The only courts available are at the high school. So again, something to consider, do we go with tennis along with pickleball? Okay. Next slide, please. Dog park, another big one that I saw come through on the survey and also come through on the index cards. I just want to say a quote from an old rec director, a friend of mine. A dog park is for the people. The social ability to communicate as the dogs are there to play. Okay, I just love that quote because I've been fortunate to build a couple dog parks. So, and I know that's high on the list for the residents. Next slide, please. Water. Do we want to do a pool or a splash pad? Things to consider as we do the master plan. Splash pads or bubble features, you're looking between $250,000 to $500,000. The splash pads have less liability. You don't need lifeguards. They don't need to be manned by staff. The preventative maintenance on a splash pad, very, very minimal. Swimming pools, you're looking at $2 to $5 million. Liability, preventive maintenance, just things to consider. I ran swimming pools for a long time. I love them. But things that we need to consider as a commission as we move forward through this process. And that's really all I have. Last slide. This is where I would like to kind of open it up. I know we have some residents out there. Also, just comments, anything that you would like to see in our parks. So this is kind of an extension of our community forum that took place last week, and that's where I wanted to open it up to the community. If you have some things that you would like to say.
Okay,
Now would be a great time. If you could come to the podium and just state your name.
My name is Brian Clark. I live here on Florence. I live across the street from Florence Park.
Yeah.
We've met before.
Yes, we have.
I have a major question. After last meeting we did with the master plan, I noticed that there were parks that were, you got Rotary Park, you got Kiwanis Park, so they're sponsored parks. My question is, how do I sponsor a park? Do I get a committee? Do I have a special committee for a park?
He wants to adopt the park. What do we tell
How do we adopt parks? How do we get our own committees to take care of our own parks in our subdivisions? That's my question.
With that,
Huh?
which park are you wanting?
Florence.
Well, I live across the street from Florence.
Florence. He wants to adopt Florence.
him? Mark, go ahead. Come on.
I would say typically what they do in the past, they used to put up a sponsor fee and then get an agreement, make an agreement with the Parks and Rec Commission that they would take care of the park, do some cleaning, maintenance, things like that. The major stuff, I would assume if it was a small group, as a, say, neighborhood group, I would think that it wouldn't be as extensive as, say, Kiwanis or Rotary that has a more major group involved. But I would think, I don't think we have anything in place right now. And that would be something with Ms. O'Farrell that we'd have to put in place, a policy that says, you know, you'll take care of this. There used to be an agreement
Can I
that
make
we,
a motion to investigate the possibility of Levy becoming a park sponsor?
Not so much levy.
Oh, okay, or this, or the city, or that group at the Florence group.
I
Florence. Yeah,
We're a
You-
very tight-knit street.
okay.
We can put together a committee of our own, or in that general area around that park. I know Ms. Kate lives across the park from us.
Me and Demeter are with you.
You guys got this?
you could do that. It would still run through the Parks and Rec
I'm not gonna say
Commission
all that.
as far
We
as
don't see-
what you're
we
gonna
just see what
do.
they
and-
talking about.
Things to the Parks and Rec.
Sure.
Right,
But
the
there's
rules and
things, but the
regulations, yes.
basic concept of sponsoring it is maintenance, some cleanup,
Change of things.
And that's in
Lighting.
addition to what DPS does, right?
that's in addition, correct.
In addition to.
Mark.
Correct. Like at Rotary, I know probably a year or two ago, maybe 2 years ago, they were talking about redoing the sign or cleaning up around the sign. So they got some Rotarians to come out and do the flowers and do that.
So,
Instead of them telling
But that, I mean, that's a basic, really basic
So
thing involved.
here's the thing, it's been a long concern in the area of our street and residents in that area, is we have a path that goes from Florence to, is it Alvin?
Yeah.
So there's a path that goes through the sidewalk. I tend to clean that sidewalk quite often with the trees, because there is only one light that does that whole path. So to bring light and open that area up, we tend to get a group of people together and we clean those trees out. We would like to see a path around the whole park right there. Now, I've offered to do the work and take care of it as a committee. We could do that as a committee if we could adopt it. I could get sponsors for it. We could, if there's a fee, I just need to know what we need to do.
They would have to adopt an actual, or renew the policy that we used to have. And I don't, offhand, I don't know if that policy is still in effect. I know we were looking at it.
I think the last time we looked, it still was, because Rotary and Kiwanis.
You guys had a copy of the letter, didn't
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know Kim brought it. We have it in our,
I don't think there's any upfront fee. I think what it is you're just guaranteeing to do X a year. One of the things he had mentioned when we were at the 5-year meeting.
Put it on the mic so people can
Yeah.
hear.
One of the things that he had mentioned was at the 5-year meeting, when we were at it last week, he said about putting something in, and then somebody says, well, no, he can't do that because then the union is gonna sue him because people can't do that. But if the city goes and gets a contractor and hires them and they do it, it's okay. And I'm thinking, if they adopt the
That-
park and they
that would
wanna
be-
fix, and if they wanna adopt the park and they wanna fix it, then that's on them, because we let people who adopt parks do work in the park.
That would be through a policy that the Parks and Rec Commission would come up with as far as what that would entail. Again, you got Kiwanis, and you have Rotary that allow it. And last I heard, we were gonna look at the updated policy or updating it and trying to get some more contributions, but the basics of it would be just basically keeping it, maybe do some maintenance every once in a while. If there was a project you wanted to do in there, probably bring it before the Parks and Rec Commission and let them say yay or nay, and, you know, that would be the easiest way, or the best way.
Right, so if you wanted to
Basically,
do
you
a
would have
project, bring it to us, and then once we're on board with it, we bring it to Kim, and then Kim.
You would have to go through
Yeah, we'd have to
Missile
follow the
Pharaoh.
channel. So you could use us, and you got Kate, so we're good.
Don't do
I would say if you,
that. Don't do that.
let them get a policy together, or you bring your concerns to Missile Pharaoh, and she can bring it to the Parks and Rec Commission if they think it's good. Probably gonna go through the city and be okay. So,
Thanks, Mark. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to express an idea, concern, thoughts about the master plan, or what they would like to see?
You have a brief rundown of what you have in it?
It might take minutes.
We will be here.
There's no brief on that.
We will be here all night. So if you would like a draft copy to take a peek, you can have that. There's a lot of information in here. Yeah, it's a lot. So again, this is a draft. Okay, we are updating the last 5-year master plan, and part of in here is community input, and you'll see that in there. So anyone that's watching at home, I am at Radcliffe every day. You can come talk to me. You can talk to the commission and share your ideas. You can email me, kimo@gardencitymi.org. So however you want to communicate your ideas, I am here, the commission is here, council members are here. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there while we're on camera tonight, so. And that's really all I have on the master plan.
Okay, so did we go over number 1 yet on the old business? Because we were at the master plan. Did we skip over number?
Well, we are actually on items for, we are on old business right now.
Okay,
Consideration.
okay. So we're on city parks, DNR park, playground update?
Right. I just wanted to update the commission last night at city council, and I have 2 council members here tonight. Thank you for your vote. The new piece of equipment, was anyone able to watch the meeting last night? So we're all familiar with the piece that's going in. I just think that's a very important thing to have. And again, I think what's nice about doing these parks, you know, down the road, can we add some shade structures? But this particular piece has to be done in the original plan because of the poured in place. And you heard me talk last night about that. So I just wanted to update you on that. That's really all I had, so.
I appreciate you making that a priority, inclusiveness. That's very nice to see.
The other thing, I know there was some comments on Facebook about swings for handicap. I have already looked into that. The new swing style for carrying somebody in a handicap chair, I did get pricing for that a while back. It's close to $90,000, just to let you know. So I did look into that. I know there was a resident that has somebody in a wheelchair, and I do watch a little bit of Facebook, and I do take the calls seriously. I just felt like it was a very important piece, so that's all I have.
Now we're on to new business, the master plan community forum.
I had added, this was on the, obviously, the agenda that went out. I just kind of wanted to update the commission a little bit, and I kind of already did that, how many people showed up, some of the comments, the exercise we did. I kept it pretty standard and simple. That is just the way I've done community forums in my past positions. I am a person that likes to listen to what the residents have to say, and that's how I feel kind of a community forum is, you know. So we didn't have a big attendance, and like I talked about it in the presentation, you know, we're doing everything that we can to get as much input as possible. So, and that's all I have.
I'm wondering if the commission would want to have like a workshop to discuss the master plan, or if we just would like to add it into our regular meeting. But I would like to hear everyone's input.
In the past, we have used our regular meeting as part of the workshop to talk about the master plan, and then that's all that's on the agenda, is we just talk about the master plan for the hour that we're together.
Okay.
Or we set up a separate day. It's what's convenient for this group at this time, because every group has been different.
Well, what do you think? Do you guys want to have an input in this? Do you want to set up a special meeting?
I guess the thing we have to look at is our next meeting's November 29th, right? Are we all pretty much going to be here?
November 28th is when we actually have to vote on the draft. So I would recommend that if you want to have a workshop, we do it very, very soon,
To do it before.
because we do need to take a vote on the 28th in our November meeting to approve the draft as submitted.
I think what we could do is make notes on what we want to see and talk about, so that, you know, going over the pamphlet over there, there is a lot of documentation. So if we wanted to set something up, that would be good, and maybe have like 5 key points that we all want to talk about might be helpful as well. So I'm all for a special meeting.
Right.
Workshop.
So how about this? Why don't, if we need to pick a date, you know, go home, look at your calendars, and then send me an email of availability, because it's so hard to sit here and say, oh, are we available? You know, we don't have all of our calendars in front of us. And for me to set a date right now, I feel is very unfair to the commission.
Would it be easier to like pick a certain day, like a Monday,
Yeah.
we want to do it this Monday, that, or Tuesdays?
Yep.
Should we decide that now, though? Does Tuesday work for everybody, or what's the best day for everybody?
I would be fine with a Tuesday.
I would say a commission day is a good day.
Yeah, Tuesdays, yeah.
Is anyone opposed to November 7th?
I cannot make that one.
I know it's election day, but November 14th?
I'm good.
I'm open.
Good?
No.
Here we go. That's what I'm saying.
I'm so sorry.
You know how it goes. So that's what I'm saying. Let's go, and we have email communication. We can call each other. We can get it set.
Any other day, I could probably make too, like in the beginning of the month, or I just, you know.
And again,
You're right,
with the
we could do this
workshop, we
all
do have to
day.
post an agenda. It is an open meeting. I'm gonna throw another one out there. November 2nd, it's a Thursday. But the other thing I have to check is what's available in this room. So there's not only, if we're available, I gotta make sure there's not another meeting in the room as well.
Right.
I have parent-teacher conference.
Yeah, okay. We are 0 for 4 at this point. Let's go back to the original.
Go back to the original where if people have things, just.
Do we have to meet here? Could we meet at Radcliffe? Or does it have?
I think with the workshops, it does not have to be on camera?
No, we record it for a courtesy.
Okay.
Residents. That one can just be an open meeting act in the Heritage Room
Okay.
at Radcliffe, and, whoever shows up, and then the commission would be there. If you guys want to take an audio recording, then you can have just in case a few minutes later, but no, it doesn't have
Okay.
to be recorded in this room.
Okay.
Or just make sure we don't have a quorum.
Okay.
We'll get it done.
We'll get it done.
Right.
But like I said, just go, take a look at your calendars. I'll get an email loop going, or
Thank
text
you.
group. Yeah.
I appreciate
We'll
that.
get it, we have to get the workshop done before the next meeting.
Okay.
Okay, that's the goal. Okay? It's
I
hard.
just really want to make sure that we put some good ideas in there, you know, some attainable goals that we can reach.
Okay.
Next agenda item is other business.
There's none?
Okay. Public comment for general, or we've already handled that one? We did that one.
Yeah, we have handled all public comment, I believe so.
We,
Was there someone else?
Questions about Kiwanis Park and the Kiwanis plans? I thought that we kind of went over that a couple months ago. We were going to update you, but I heard somebody might have a question.
I think,
Was it brought up at the master plan, maybe? Somebody was asking recently, just like where Kiwanis was, and so if there's been any change,
Is
maybe.
Mike okay? Because that's, we never.
Sorry, who, Mike? Is
Yeah.
Mike okay? Yeah, Mike's good. He was at the council meeting last night. No, there hasn't been any change. We're moving forward. We did get some quotes. We picked out some equipment and stuff like that, and quotes from, I think it's Pinchura we're going through. At a cost
Do
of
they-
about $500,000.
Do they offer a group discount if we're both going with them?
Well, the thing with, there's grants that Kiwanis can get. However, in speaking with our grant writer, there's going to be an issue because we do not own that property. So in order to get grants, it's gonna have to be, I mean, we'll have to have meetings with you guys and with the city to try to figure something out. But to get, to raise $500,000 or $600,000, a lot of that's gonna have to come from grants. And like I said, Kiwanis is eligible for certain grants. However, because we don't own the property, that it's a little hiccup that we'll have to figure out some way around, possibly, hopefully. So, again, talking to this commission and getting with the city manager, hopefully we can figure something out.
Thank
So,
you.
That's where we're at. The sign's gonna get updated, though, not the sign itself, but the area around the sign. They did go over and dig it out, and they put some stuff down to kill the weeds. Pat McCarge, who's a master gardener, was over there. She didn't want to plant anything at the time because we were not getting any rain and there's no way to water anything there. So the plan is to go in the spring and get some perennials planted and stuff that'll keep coming up, so.
Oh, okay,
It is getting work done, slowly but surely.
thank you.
Thank you.
next is the financial program report. Any questions, concerns?
Any questions on the program report?
I'm good at this time on the financials.
Thank you.
Next item is upcoming events and programs. We have the Senior Jukebox Bingo, which is Wednesday, October the 25th. The Kids Halloween Dance, October the 27th. The Halloween Skate, October the 8th. The Senior Lunch and Fun, November the 3rd. Parents Night Out, November the 17th. Nerf Wars, November 18th. Senior Trivia, November 22nd. And Parents Day Off, November 22nd. Any questions or concerns on those?
Again, all those events are in the Rec Connect. I encourage residents, we are continually adding programs. And an example would be we get a program instructor hired. It might not be in the Rec Connect, but we do roll out flyers on social media very, very frequently with new programs. So,
Commissioner comment?
I have no comment tonight. I know you don't believe it.
Kim, any comments from you? Well, did I ask everybody or no? That's- Okay. Robert?
No, I don't have any today.
John?
I'm good.
Kate?
I just have a few things.
Okay.
Leftover budget money. I'm wondering if it can either be spent for Parks and Recs before it goes back into the general fund, or can we set up a fund where that leftover money goes into it and sits until Parks and Recs is ready to do a project? A lot of the things from the master plan, they're great ideas, but there's no budget for them, none. So if we're gonna be serious about getting things done, we need to be thinking funding for it. And grants take a long time, and there's a lot of stipulations. So I'm just wondering if you can look into this.
what's your definition of leftover money in the budget?
Money that hasn't been spent. Every year it goes back into the general fund. So,
I will get the best answer I can for
okay,
you.
thanks. If there's money left over, I've thought that in recent years that there has been money that goes back into the fund. And then moving on. Grant writer. I heard the council talking about it yesterday. I would like to see Garden City have one, even if it's not just for Parks and Recs. Maybe it could be across the board. So I'm hoping you can look into that also. Even part-time would be helpful. A lot of budgeting for the master plan items say, you know, we'll go after grants, but we have nobody writing those grants, you know, no worker working on it. And, okay, and then the last thing I have is I'm very happy and excited to see residents coming out to help. Funds are very limited, so I'm all for our residents stepping up to help and giving their ideas and a helping hand. That's all.
I have one question for you, Ms. Gam. Do we have any programs that's coming to Radcliffe for kids with disabilities?
I'm working on that now.
Okay.
The challenge with that is getting qualified people to teach those types of programs. That is the challenge. Yeah, so an example would be,
Wheelchair basketball or something?
yeah, I mean, there's some, is that the programming you're asking about?
Well, I'm asking about like some programs for kids who are high functioning and they need to be around other kids so they can like just hang out with them and talk to them, you know, programs like that, social programs for them.
Okay.
Not sports, like social.
A social
Like a little
environment.
social club or
Okay.
something like that for individuals, you know.
I'm writing that down.
Okay, thank you. That's my only concern.
Like, you know, the hardest part, like, and I don't want to say the hardest part, but again, even with our summer camps and our youth programs, we accept all children. We do. We don't turn anybody away. But especially when you're dealing with like a summer camp and we do have a challenged youth, it's very challenging to find a staff person that's qualified, meaning that has the experience working with mental retardation and autism to be on that staff. It's hard enough to find regular staff, let alone a trained staff person. Does that make sense?
Right, but
Yeah.
we do have some individuals, like if, I know some people don't like the term Asperger's, but like they may have that syndrome, who they are highly functioning in school. My son has that, you know, and he's a straight A student, but he had problems as far as with socializing with people, so we had to get him to understand how to deal with people, you know, because he has no emotions. He has no empathy, but he does want friends, you know?
Right.
And I mean, once you get to know him, you're like, oh my God, he's really cool, you know? But if they don't have people around them that they can talk to, people that may be like them, I mean, it could be beneficial for them in the long run.
Okay.
You know, like, he may be able to help another child as far as learn how to, you know, talk to other people, and that child may be able to teach him how to have sympathy or empathy for someone. So it could be vice versa. So it's just, I think they need programs also, you know, and it's just not the individuals who cannot function, that are very low functioning. I mean, you have different levels of individuals who have disabilities.
I will
And they
certainly look
shouldn't
into it.
help either, so.
Thank you for bringing that up.
To touch on what you're talking about with your situation, one thing that I've seen within the schools, they call it unified. They have unified groups, unified sports. So you take your mainstream kids and your kids with special needs and you put them together. You're bringing the unified kids that have special needs. They're not coming alone, they're coming with a caretaker, but they're also being able to socialize with the other kids. So something like we could do where you don't need a specific, director to oversee this. You have that caretaker that is with that child, but also bringing them in. And a group that you could use is, and the word that you use is unified. You could have unified dodgeball, where you have both kids, because there's a lot of kids that really want to help other students that are like that. I see it in the schools. They want to be a buddy of someone that has that. So in order to create a group like that, or a program, class, or just a fun event, you could use the word unified. So
Thank
that was
you.
my suggestion.
That's kind of the buzzword today, is unified.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll use
No, because you're right.
Yeah.
If you don't have the buzzword, people will
Right.
just turn away from you.
Yeah, and then also on Kate's grant writer, what I've learned myself is that anyone can write a grant. Yes, it does take time, and it takes a lot of research, but any one of us, any resident can do grant writing. So instead of us waiting for, you know, $5,000 grants, $1 million grant, we as residents, if we have the time, can absolutely look into what's out there and research. You know, we have 501c3s, we have Kiwanis, we have Rotary, we have all of those things. As long as you have that number attached to the registration and, you know, a little bit of knowledge, we can all do this instead of waiting. It might not, like I said, it might not be huge, but I've seen where I personally can get a $25,000 grant for an organization. So any one of you can do this, and we don't have to wait, you know. Yes, we want one, but in the meantime, we can do this ourselves. So I just want to let residents know that. So that's all I have.
So building on the inclusivity, have you considered getting like a nonverbal communication board for Garden City Park? Have you heard about those at all?
I have not.
I can
So
send you
it's
some information on that, but they're great.
Yeah,
I
can
will
get
look
you-
into that.
I can get you some information on that also. We're getting them put in at our school, Berger School, at Garden City Schools. So we're getting them put in both our buildings. So I can check in on that also and
Okay.
see where they were ordering.
I can check
from.
out, yeah, I'll definitely look into it.
Yeah, I'd love to see that go in, but that was
Okay.
it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Jen, did you have anything?
Oh, no,
Okay.
I'm done.
Brendan?
Oh, I'm done.
I just have one thing, the parks inspections. I know a few months ago, we all picked new parks, and I don't know if that ever got in the record, or if it ever got in anything.
We have it in the
assumed-
notes.
When we did it again, I had picked Moeller that day. Someone had already taken Arcola. I picked Moeller, and then when I went to do the inspection, I think it was in September, I noticed someone else had already turned in the one for Moeller. And I emailed you, you told me I still had Arcola. So I'm not sure if anything. was
Yeah,
put in the
I
record.
just
Nothing
went off-
must- must have never put in the minutes or the records or anything, but I'm just confused on.
I mean, I can pull up the minutes, because that's all I really have to go on.
Can you add them into the next month's minutes?
Do you, I can email out those minutes to everybody
Hang on,
tomorrow.
You know what happened? You know where I think we got confused? The person before was taking care of a couple parks because we were short commissioners.
Well, I think when
Wasn't
I
that
came
true?
on board, Arcola was the only one still open.
Yeah, because I think Brad was doing two
Okay.
parks or something. He was
Okay.
responsible for a couple parks. So
Yeah.
that may be where we could have got
Right,
something
yeah,
lost.
confused.
But do you know what park you're supposed to go to? That's the key.
I don't know, maybe Arcola or Moeller, I don't know. Is it still?
Yeah, I have to pull up the notes. I don't know.
I mean, if it's still Arcola, I can
What
go
park
back.
do you have?
Well, hang on.
Well, no, someone else was
one?
doing Moeller.
Okay, he has Arcola.
Right,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think-
So we did re-switch. We did pick.
right. I think, see what happened for Moeller Park, I did that inspection for Moeller Park before. Then we changed parks.
Right.
And we all got different parks, and I got Arcola. Wasn't that your whole park, John?
Yes.
Yeah,
Right.
okay.
So you have Moeller then.
So you have Moeller.
Somebody else did Moeller, that's why I'm confused. I think Dennis did Moeller also.
Some parks have two commissioners.
Maybe two
I
for that one?
think.
Okay.
From Roller, I don't think.
Dennis
was
is
there
the
two
one
from
that's
Roller?
missing, the young, the guy that's missing, what's his name?
Dennis?
Dennis has City Park with me.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
he has
I do
City Park
remember
with me,
that.
yeah. So he no longer has it, whatever he had.
Okay.
But someone turned, so I'm gonna do Moeller then?
Yes.
Okay. But someone did turn in a thing for Moeller, that's why I was confused. I think Dennis turned in your email, I think someone had done, that did Moeller.
I think it was Dennis, yeah.
So that's why I was confused.
Okay. But I'll email it just for confirmation.
Okay.
And then are we
Yeah,
still gonna make copies of
comments from
those
the public,
reports
right?
and review them
Comments
at
from the
the
public.
following meeting afterwards?
I've only received 2 right now.
Who's do you have so far?
I have Sue's and Dennis, that's it, I have 2.
Dennis Kapelinski?
I just got them
Or
today.
So
You
ask
or
Mike
no?
where
No, me.
mine's at, because Mike has mine.
Yeah,
What,
Mike
what
has
part did Dennis
mine.
say he had?
So Sue has Florence and Dennis has City.
Okay.
Dennis Cagg.
Okay.
Yeah. And Mike has yours.
He met me at Rotary on Monday, he has mine.
When do you want these by?
Whatever you have them completed, that'd be great. So I think what I'm gonna do is like, once I get these, I'll just put it in an email to all of you. Because I take these and give them right to Mike. I mean, you know what I mean? I looked them over, but again, Mike is overseeing the parks right now as far as the maintenance and those types of things, so. But I will share them with you via email.
I would like to go back and have the copies of them, if this is okay with everybody. I would like to go over everybody's park notes, just, maybe there's something you're looking at that I'm not. Maybe there's something I'm looking at that you're not. If you guys wanna do that, we can do it. If not, we don't have to.
I like doing it.
So I'll gather everything that I have.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, we have our next meeting is scheduled for November the 28th at 6:30. Would anybody like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Motion adjourned.